What is up, everybody? Good morning, or afternoon, or evening. Going to be working on or continuing work on a big refactor of the Effect AI SDKs. I figured could do it on stream since I haven't streamed in a while. It's been really busy lately, so apologies for not having streamed for a bit. But I thought this would be a fun way to spend the next hour and a half till I have to hop off. So I think that we are at the point where we've got like text generation and streaming text generation wired up, and we're working on getting tool calls back to working. And I just realized the title of my stream is wrong, so let me fix that. Working on a refactor on the Effect AI SDKs. All right. So I think the first thing we need to do is figure out how we're going to resolve the tool choice. And actually, we just on the main branch added a new option for tool choice. One of our community members added a new option. So let me go grab that, which basically allows you to specify almost like a filter for tools that you're allowed to call. So you can give like a full toolkit, but then you can like instruct the model based on some parameters. Maybe you need to like tell the model it can only call this subset of your toolkit. Let me find it. Language model. It's going to go in a minor. That's why. Okay. So let's add this into our refactor. And you may see, like, as I'm working on this, that for some stuff I have JS docs and for some stuff I don't. My plan is, like, when I'm done to just let Cloud Code go wild and generate JS docs for everything. So that's why you may see, like, some stuff has it, some stuff does not. Let's do this. Mode, question mark, auto, or one of the model is restricted to these subset of tools specified by one of when mode is auto or omitted. The model can decide whether or not a tool from the allowed tools can be called when mode is required. The model must call one tool from the allowed subset of tools. Cool. And then we need to add that in. Mode, auto, Or where? Read only one of those. Way. Uh, Actually, we can just do POs, please. I think this can be read only way. What's up, Mattia? Mattia, can you let me know if the music's at a good volume? I haven't streamed in a while, so I don't know if I ever messed with the volume. And now that we've got that, when we actually set the tool choice here, or sorry, when we actually tools equals type of tool choice equals object and one of in tool choice. If that's the case, then we have to filter down the tools. So object.values toolkit.tools filter tool. Not, I know, tool choice dot one of dot includes tool dot in. Otherwise, it's just object dot values tools. And then we can do tools. Let's do the same thing here for streaming. And we'll set provider options that tools equals tools. So that should wire it up on the base SDK side, I think. And then we can deal with it. So right now, since we've done so much refactoring on the base SDK side, there's still quite a bit of like stuff that's like broken or doesn't work. But we're now using the Anthropic provider integration to sort of like test all this stuff out and test what it's like to like build out a provider with the new base SDK. And like most stuff, like the methods and things like that haven't changed like that much. The response types and the way that we return data to you has changed in a way that I think is much more flexible and allows you to do a lot more stuff with it. So we can talk a little bit about that if you folks have questions, but let's go back to the Anthropic language model and let's figure out how we're going to prepare these tools. So I'm looking at like on my other screen, I have my old implementation up. I know I have some of that stuff here, but I think we're going to end up refactoring this anyways. Um, you probably also want to support. I know Anthropic has that like disable parallel tool use flag. Probably want to support that somehow. I wonder if we can put that into like the language model options here. Like read only, disable parallel. Cool. Boolean. We'll try this. Man, I haven't listened to Breaking Benjamin in a hot minute. Like that. Would you like that? All right. Prepare tools choice. And we haven't turned on, by the way, the structured tool calls yet, or we haven't implemented generate object yet. So we'll deal with that later. But for now, we're going to read only array tool.any. I wonder if here, instead of taking the tools in, we can just do this. Array J. Because we don't need the rest of the stuff that tools give us here. So I think we can just do this. And then up here, we can just do key of tools. Mm. Actually, wait. Uh, AI tool. No. Tool kit dot tools. No, that extracts the tools. I have a helper, I think. Tool dot name. Kind of feel like a names helper. Toolkit dot names. Um, let's do it. Toolkit. Let's find all of our utility methods. This is the tools utility. Utility which extracts the name of all tools in a toolkit. Tool names. Uh, I think this will work. We can actually test. I have a scratch pad that uses not Bedrock. This one. Tool choice. Tool. Down. Hmm. Actually, am I just passing the wrong thing into the helper? Sure. Uh, let's just do this. Key of tools extends infer key question mark key extends string question mark key else never else null. And let's grab all of this. There we go. And we should also test one of shoot. Nice. Um, I definitely do this somewhere else, but I think the other way to do this is like main key of tools main. Yeah. That is fine. All right. Anthropic. So tool choice is going to have to well, provider options takes in a tool choice of any. So we'll probably just do the same thing here. And then, so one of the big changes I made here is that providers get access to like the full the full tool information, not just like like not just like the subset of information we were sending through to the provider before. So basically, like everything the toolkit knows, the provider will know about the tools. And that's basically to allow us to do more with provider defined tools. So like web search, code execution, all that sort of stuff. But it does mean we have to like change a bunch of logic for how we handle like tools and things like that on the provider side. So one of the things we need to do is like add helpers to the tool module that will allow us to extract like a description from the tool. Basically, everything we were doing under the hood for you in the base SDK before will now just be like module scoped methods that we can use to get information about the tool. So backwards again. Well, there's two things here. So for tool choice, we need to return. Why was this effectful before? Not exactly sure why it was an effectful thing before, but let's start with the synchronous method. Then what we need to return type of generated that tool choice dot encoded. This is basically here we're preparing the request that's going to Anthropic, so we need to make sure we always have the encoded information. And the first decision point here is really going to be if tool dot is provider defined. Well, it's actually not. We need to, for this part of the tool thingy, we can probably just switch on the options.tool choice dot what's this something again? Auto none required. Okay. If options.tool choice equals auto, then you know what? This is all going to have to be a part of the same method, because we need to return both the tool choice and the set of allowed tools. Maybe. Let's do this. If it's auto, big. I need the config as well. We can return. What's the structure of this? Type is going to be auto. And that should narrow us down to, yeah, okay. Config dot options dot config dot disable parallel to false. Great. That should be fine for the auto thing. If tool choice equals none, what are we doing? You know, it's going to be a lot easier if we just make this into one method. Because I think Anthropic's one of those ones that doesn't support none, so you just have to like set the tools to nothing. If I remember correctly, what do we do up here? Tool choice. I think we're just like not even handling it, which is wrong. If tool choice is none, and we're going to return a structure that looks like read only tool choice. Read only tools. There's going to be a type of generated tool. What does create message params look like? Messages, tool choice, tools. It's an array of tools. Okay. So all right, generated tool choice got encoded, or undefined. Let tools type of array of type of generated dot tool coded. Sorry, I'm like totally ignoring chat. Hello, chat. Or undefined. So this is our initial state. if we have a type of tool choice of none, then we need to return, I think, Anthropic. You just set everything to undefined. Let's just do that. We can just do this tool choice. Great. And then we can just return tools choice. We'll go back to an options object here just so we can shadow. Cool. So if we're none, um, no, leave, no, need to. If we're auto, then the tool choice equals type is basically this. And it's going to be options.config. Well, I could just do this. And we'll deal with the tools in a minute. Let if we have a required tool, what are we going to do? If we have a required tool, we can actually, we should probably set the tools array to options.tools initially. And this we need to transform. So I know I'm like flip flopping on this a ton, and I'm sorry. It's just that I know that this pattern I'll probably end up using. Um, I'll probably end up like reusing this pattern, which is why I'm like being annoying about it. Okay. If we have a required tool that we need to set that tool so we can reuse this. Um, yeah, if we require calling a tool, that means we have to call one. It's like any, but auto means the model can do it at once. Any means you have to call at least one. And then if we have a tool in our tool choice, that means that we have a specific tool we want to call, which Anthropic has a thing for. You can do sharing tools. We still have to figure out what this is going to look like, but tool choice in this case will be a type tool. And disable parallel tool use will be, I guess it's true, but we can just leave it to whatever the config is set to. And the name of the tool is tool choice dot tool. And the final one, tools, is going to be the one of thing where we have to filter. Say, Dylan Bethel Risses. Tool choice. This is going to be, I think. Okay, so there's two things we have to do here. We need a type dot mode equals auto. Oh, we can actually just do this. And then so this is like the verbose version, right? Um, And this is actually probably where we need to start thinking about what the Anthropic tools are going to look like. Right. Let's go grab that off my other branch. Yeah, check me out. Pop this in a document. I know. For all of you watching this, say, Max, you should really use Git work trees. Yes, I know. I haven't found a workflow for Git work trees that I'm happy with yet. But I've used them before and I know they're great and whatever. Anthropic tool. And let's reopen our language model. Then go to prepare tools. So speed only sweeter. Copy code block. So So this is going to be provider defined. I've settled on like this provider defined naming versus user defined. I don't know. We'll see if it sticks. Nice. It's from the memories. So in the swing there, we'll do this. Pull up results. And we can fix this now. Export const web. We can use this. Full dot. Provider defined. The ID is going to be similar to what Vercel does in provider dot name of tool. Oops. The name is going to be web search args web search args dot fields success schema dot array. Actually, wait, can I just do web search result failure generated dot response web search cool result error. Cool. Why is this unhappy? Yeah. So basically, I mean, right now we're just doing web search to test with. We'll have, I think Vercel supports code execution and web search. We'll probably try to just support them all out of the box. But for now, just so we have one to test with, we'll have web search here. And let me check the Anthropic docs. I think that web search is still gated behind a beta, maybe? Let me check. Oh, maybe not. No, I think actually it's not. The rest are, but web search, I think, is no longer beta. Great. So I think we can move this out of the constructor here. Let's do that. Um, and we need const convert user defined tool. And again, we can use sort of the old AI language models conversion convert tool to see what we did. So in the tool module, we're going to add some stuff. Tool. By the way, for those of you who haven't realized, we're removing the AI prefix. Like these are all the old modules, but I think we're going to remove the AI prefix from the new modules and just leave them just to try to decrease verbosity. These are annotations. Let's annotations. These instructors. These are all utility types. God, I love this song. Type cards and models. Roto. Cool. So utilities. We're going to have an export const get JSON schema equals cool. Name. Okay. And I need that. Damn. Cool. And this will return a JSON schema.js schema 7. And we can go copy the old code and then adapt it. Copy. So we need a few imports. We need JSON schema from JSON schema. And we need the JSON schema for the tool parameters. Tool.parameters schema.ast. Let's just do this. AST equals tool.parameters schema.ast. Cool. And then we also need a utility for const get description. And we need the same signature. So we're going to return a string. This is the old. And what we'll do first is we'll do return tool. Tool predicate is tool description. So we either get the description from the tool itself or we get it from like the schema. Well, it was a good reason why we're doing this, I guess. Yeah, still won't. We do that under the hood already. No. Okay. We'll leave that. Now we can come back over here and finish our tool conversion. So this needs to return a type of generated tool encoded. So we're going to have a name. I don't know what this type thingy is, but figure that out. Let me take a look at the docs. I don't think we need the type. It's unfortunate that we don't have a way to support cache control at the moment. We are actually supporting it now in the provider options, the input, the prompt. But yeah. I need to remove import type from somewhere, I think. Yeah. What's this thing's problem? Argument of type any is not assignable to a parameter of type tool. Okay. That's fine. I think this might have to be effectful because we want to run the arguments schema against it. Make request is here. I don't know if there's a better way to do this, but let's take this thing. So this is going to be a tool.any. And the real question now is like, let's property tool is basically like how we want to do this. I think we can do this synchronously because the schema, it doesn't have any effectful pieces. I wonder if we can make provider defined tools. If we can like add the encode method, like encode arguments, and decode results, like right onto the prototype. Read only encode args. And I kind of want this to be like, I don't know, we can make it effectful. It doesn't really matter. Uh, and we can just put this on the prototype for provider defined. So provider validate arguments with Any provider defined. Return schema dot. This dot. I wonder if we should be passing in the args schema for provider defined tools, because yeah, I think let's try it. Let's go back up to the provider defined structure here. And let's make this encode arguments. Args. You know what? Let's do any struct schema here. So schema. Okay. And our schema is going to be yeah. Encoded. We can probably add something like this. The problem is set Our sensitivity is developed the result of name. Should have copied the parameters one here. And I do this. What is Effect AI? Effect AI is an SDK that we built to allow using AI models or AI providers, kind of like the Vercel AI SDK, but instead of just we wanted an SDK that was native to Effect that gave us all the benefits of using Effect and allows us to like leverage things within the Effect ecosystem for calling and interacting with these AI models. So Effect AI is basically our SDK for performing AI interactions. TypeScript. Building an SDK involves a lot of object-oriented programming. No, I disagree. Do you have a favorite TypeScript book? No, not really. I taught myself most of what I know about TypeScript. A lot of abstractions, yeah, but Effect has a lot of really good tools for like abstracting different things. In particular, for this particular use case, for building this type of SDK, Effect services like um, being able to describe like services in Effect. Um, where is my any provider defined? Here we go. Being able to use Effect services to build up this SDK is very powerful and doesn't really require um, like any object-oriented programming stuff. But again, like I don't really get caught up too much in like the terminology, like OOP, FP. I think Effect blends the two in a way that tries to make doing stuff as ergonomic as possible. Encode arguments. Schema.encode this.arg schema args. And then we have a decode result. And for this result, we're actually in this case we're gonna have to try both the we have to try the success schema and the failure schema. Because if the tool call failed, we want to know that too. That it fools even more to the point no doubt about it. Any struct schema. Play a strict song me. Think I'm better. Okay. Options. Args. Args is required. Whoop. Args. Think I'm cracking up. What's the problem here? Arg schema does not exist in type, blah, blah, blah. Into control. Okay. Is this why I did it this way? It definitely is. Uh, I think we do want to keep, what is this genre of music called? I don't know. Alternative? Like alternative rock, maybe? I have no idea. But if you want, you can request songs to my Spotify using the channel points thing at the bottom. Let's see if it's actually still working. You can click the song request and then paste the Spotify URL in. So let me actually try. Let's make sure it's still working. Where's my favorite Arcane song? Copy link to song. Let's see if this still works. Yep, it still works. So if you want to, you can make song requests by at the bottom of my chat, clicking the channel points button, clicking song request. It costs literally the least amount of channel points I can make it cost, and then just pasting in a Spotify URL like you see that I did. So I think Mm. I think we still want read only. Debushi, thank you very much for the follow. I'm sorry I missed that. My bad. We want config args type. You know, the arguments passed to the provider defines tool. Let's go to our. So we want to do this. We don't need anymore. We do need this. So, all right, feelings. What do we call it? Sub arguments. Input args. And then I don't actually think we want to allow this. I'm gonna have to sign off soon, folks. I'm probably in like 5 minutes. Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna have to sign off in like a minute. But we'll try to finish this feature really quick. So let's remove this because I don't really want to enable this functionality. People shouldn't be allowed to modify the schema. encode arguments. It's just going to be encode args. We're going to define proto args. It's going to be args encoded. We'll say ours. Any. I don't know. This just feels stupid. I think we're just going to add it as a parameter here. Read only code args effect args code. Yeah. And then over here. All right, folks, we're going to do a quick raid, and then I'm going to sign off. Some other sources. All right, folks, you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you folks the next time. Cheers, everybody.